Yes, we are back in the NFL season, baby. And more importantly, the DraftKings NFL season is back underway right now. So if you're ready to donate your money back to those people that are actually going to win DraftKings, stick around. Okay, come on. You know we're the ones that actually win. We are ready for another NFL season to take down some of the big dogs. My name's Bradley with Allaqcess Sports, and you might have seen or heard our shows on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you get your audio, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. You can find us anywhere and everywhere because we are always talking fantasy sports and DraftKings football. Now, we're going to kick things off, and we're doing things a little bit differently this year. If you're back and you're one of the thousands of people that we've helped over the years, welcome back into the channel. Glad you joined us again. And if it's your first time here, buckle up. Typically, you see our sleepers, studs, and stacks all in one video, but I decided to spread those out a little bit this year, so you're going to get specifically 2 videos each and every week at a minimum, your sleepers, and then your studs and your stacks. And we hope to do a couple of live lineup builds with you. So if any of those things interest you to hopefully improve your DraftKings performance, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know where we went wrong or what we got right. I absolutely love when people tell me down in the comments, man, you absolutely crushed this pick last week or that pick in week 2. Your words of validation help this channel so much, so I greatly appreciate it. So if at any time we help you or sway you in the right direction, please drop it in the comments below. But let's go ahead and start getting into this video a little bit. Now, each and every week, we are 100% transparent. You see a lot of these guys that want to put out 150, 200, 300 names sometimes. And they're like, look, we nailed the top 2 scores. And it's like, yeah, but you mentioned 120 people to possibly put in my lineup. We don't do that around here. We're going to give you between 7 and 10 names each and every week priced under $5,500 that I think you can put into your lineup and still get really good returns. Our goal each and every week is to get 4 times the points per $1,000 spent. What we mean by that is if you spend $5,000 on a player, our goal is to get 20 points. Your DraftKings wallet allows for $50,000 to be spent. And if you get 200 points in the NFL season, I find it hard to believe you're not cashing, with the exception of week 1, where points are just raining from the sky. And yes, a lot of our videos will have contests. Watch it all the way through to find out how you can qualify to win a Millionaire Maker ticket for your next DraftKings contest. If you've already seen our way too early Sleeper Studs and Stack video, you already have an upper hand on the rest of the competition. Kicking things off is a guy that's probably not going to take you by surprise because you're actually studying. You're here and probably reading the articles. Chase Edmonds at $5,200 against the New England Patriots. He is, in fact, their lead back after Miami Dolphins already cut Sony Michel from that backfield. I expect him to see plenty of carries against the New England Patriots. Yes, they have a stout defense, but Chase Edmonds can also catch the ball out of the backfield. I don't think he's going to have a dominant day, but he should be in line for a good one. And again, there's no real surprises. We've had an entire summer to study these names, and then we've had several weeks to look at the DraftKings pricing. Dameon Pierce, probably going to be one of the higher owned backs, going up against Indianapolis. We all know it's happening. We all know he's RB1. We saw Marlon Mack get cut, even though I was a proud proponent. Transparency. Do you fade him? I don't know if you need to pay down to $4,800 for a running back this week, but he is there for the taking if you like him. 16 to 20 points is not unheard of against this Indianapolis Colts rushing defense. And finally, Mike Davis we had, and then the Kenyon Drake news broke that he's going to Baltimore. Not sure how that's going to play out. If Kenyon Drake's not playing, but he should have time to acclimate to this offense, at $4,400 against the New York stinking Jets, Mike Davis should have a good game as J.K. Dobbins is still working his way back from the injury. We thought he was going to be good to go. Turns out, Harbaugh might have been lying a little bit. And that's okay. We're going to take advantage of Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake. Now that we've gotten some of these running backs out of the way, I don't know if you necessarily have to pay down for them, but these are some wide receivers that I absolutely love regardless of the recent news. Christian KIRK at $5,100. If you follow us on Twitter, if you follow us on any of our podcasts that have come out so far on iHeartRadio, Spotify, little plug, Christian KIRK at $5,100 is an unreal play to me. Washington was one of the worst passing defenses last year. Now they're without Chase Young for the first few weeks. Trevor Lawrence should have time to operate. The last preseason game that he had with Christian KIRK, he had an abundance of targets. If Christian KIRK is able to put up a touchdown and about 7 grabs, 45 yards, he's looking at a 20-point day right there. I fully expect the chemistry from Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk that we've seen in the preseason games and training camp to roll over to game action, especially against this team in the Washington football team. Okay, the Washington Commanders. Nico Collins at $4,200 against the Indianapolis Colts. Listen, I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to win this one. Houston is going to have to put up points. Put it on the shoulders of Davis Mills and Nico Collins, who is a real red zone threat for this team. Yes, they're going to be playing from behind. Yes, there's a chance that he scores a touchdown. And again, at $4,200, I don't know if you need to pay down that low, but if you want to play a lot of elite receivers or you want to pay up for your tight end, Nico Collins could be a nice little pivot. 5 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Again, not out of the realm of possibility based on what he did last year. I know they just signed another wide receiver, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But as of right now, I'm still comfortable keeping Nico Collins in the lineup at $4,200. Now, Michael Pittman Jr., $5,500 against Houston Texans. The Colts are a run-first team. But now you have Matt Ryan, arguably the best quarterback that they've had in this system since Andrew Luck. You don't think Matt Ryan's going to be able to find Michael Pittman Jr. in the open field? Houston Texans are going to load up the box because they had a terrible rush defense last year. Now they lose their safety in Justin Reed. And you don't really have much left deep. I fully expect Michael Pittman Jr. to have a massive game. He's one of my top 5 favorite wide receivers week 1. To find out the rest, you're probably going to have to wait for that studs and stacks video because there are 3 names that I absolutely love at the top of my board. Now, Elijah Moore, stop sleeping on him. Look at his last 6 games that he had last year. Yes, that was with Zach Wilson. Yes, it could be Joe Flacco starting week 1. I made a comment earlier in one of my videos that the Baltimore defense just really isn't that good as of right now. And someone said, if you think that this is anywhere close to the defense you saw last year, you are out of your mind. Well, I mean, it's still a lot of the same players. It's still the same scheme. It's not outlandish to think that Baltimore is going to put up a lot of points and the Jets are going to have to throw the ball to keep up. That works in our favor here with Elijah Moore, who is the #1 wide receiver for the New York Jets going up against Baltimore. Save me the Corey Davis speech, who's down 10 to 15 pounds because DraftKings doesn't know how to update their DK playbook. Save me the spiel that it's going to be the newly drafted wide receiver Garrett Wilson being wide receiver 1 early in the season. It's not going to be Braxton Berrios out of the slot, who's technically wide receiver 4 or 5. And it's certainly not going to be Tyler Conklin, the tight end. If you're looking for volume at the wide receiver position week 1, I think Elijah Moore might be that guy at only $5,100. If you follow us on TikTok, you know I have absolute love for him as my top 4 sleeper plays going into the entire season for fantasy football. At $3,800, probably the cheapest you're going to get him all year against the Las Vegas Raiders. Yes, he had 0 preseason snaps, but he still had an elite camp with Justin Herbert. They were using him all over the field, in the slot, on the line. They even put him in the backfield a couple of times. Now, there are reports that he had up and down, a couple of drop issues. What tight end doesn't have drops? I'm looking at you, Eric Ebron. You too, Evan Ingram. David Njoku, don't think you escaped this one. All of these guys have drops, and all of them still put up big weeks on occasion. This could be one of those circumstances. If you're looking to save money, cheaper than the minimum required $4,000 at the running back position, here you go. Gerald Everett at $3,800 on a silver platter. Again, if you're only wanting 4 times the points per $1,000 spent, you get Gerald Everett to get 12 points. 2 catches, 20 yards, and a touchdown. I'll take that all day. And another tight end, Evan Ingram. He looks decent in practice. Yes, it's the Jaguars, but they look a lot better than they did last year. You actually have somewhat of a competent coaching staff. Trevor Lawrence looks like the Trevor Lawrence that we expect. I don't know if that's going to play out throughout the year, but going into week 1 against a Washington pass defense that was not very good, they're without Chase Young. They're not going to have that pass rush presence. I like my chances with Trevor Lawrence being able to get Evan Ingram off the line. He's not going to have to help stay in for protection, fingers crossed, and they will be able to find him on a couple of quick routes, especially if they get that run game going early. Christian Kirk should draw a little bit of attention. I know there's a lot of ifs in that statement, but if you're looking for a cheap tight end, again, under that league minimum $4,000 for the running back, Evan Ingram at $3,500 in the tight end slot, not horrible. Also, I don't know which one of y'all let me just leave that up there that said that these were the studs. They're sleepers. They're under $5,500. Don't give me that crap that your sleeper costs $7,300 or $8,000 on DraftKings. That's not a sleeper, sir. That's just a guy that's supposed to do good that does good. The only quarterback that I would have any interest in under $5,500 this week is Sir Jameis Winston. Bradley, are you serious? 100% I am. $5,300? He now is throwing to Jarvis Landry, Christopher Olave, Michael Thomas when healthy, Alvin Kamara out of the backfield, who loves to catch passes and does nothing but help Jameis Winston. He doesn't have to throw it towards defensive backs. He just has to throw it 4 yards down the field to Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara makes 6 guys miss somehow, gets 25 yards out of it, and they're in the red zone. He looked really good in the preseason. If you don't believe me, go back and check the box scores. I think in the last game he was 4 for 4. Both of his first 2 passes went to Jarvis Landry, but he looks good. Jameis Winston, not afraid to throw the ball. I hope we see a lot of that early on, especially against a bad Atlanta defense. Deion Jones, one of the worst running back defenders in the league last year. We picked on him every week. If you're here and you've been with the Sleeper Studs and Stack crew for years, you know we love to pick on the linebackers from the Atlanta Falcons. That's not going to change this year. High on Alvin Kamara and high on Jameis Winston week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. And finally, Jahan Dotson. Again, I don't think these are catching anyone off guard, but pay attention to the price. At $3,400, he is going to be a every down wide receiver according to the coaching staff. Did he outplay Curtis Samuel? He absolutely did in the preseason. They have 2 weak tight ends. Brian Robinson's not there. That leaves you Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick, and Terry McLaurin to battle for receptions. I like my chances. If they're going to throw the ball 25 times, where do you think it's going in this one? It's not 15 targets to Terry McLaurin. Jahan Dotson has to be fed a little bit, and at $3,400, I think it's absolutely worth the gamble. Keep in mind, I like to play 1 or 2 lineups in these bigger tournaments. I love 3 limit entry and single entry contest. I'm just more comfortable that way. I don't think my 1 lineup, my single bullet, is going to keep up with 150 lineups that some of these big guys are able to afford. So if you don't want to take the chance on Jahan Dotson, I totally get it. I don't expect him to be a super popular pick, but at the price of $3,400, it's really hard to avoid if you're putting in 150 lineups. Now, again, keep in mind, you don't need most of these guys week 1. Week 3, week 4, that's where we start to really have to dig deep in these 5,500 and under player pools. I fully expect us to be rolling in a couple of weeks. Now, if you've enjoyed this video at any point, man, I appreciate you hanging out with us. We do this every single week. This is our Sleepers video. Next up, you will find our Studs and Stacks. That's where we give you those high-priced guys that you need in your lineup. They're actually going to pay off what you're paying for them. We're not going to give you that $10,000 bust. We're going to give you a $9,000 diamond, baby, as well as our Stacks. Who are you pairing? What quarterback and wide receiver combo do you need to have? And we'll dabble a little bit in the defenses early on week 1. Keep an eye on the Chiefs and the Panthers. But we'll continue to produce content all season long right here on YouTube, as well as lives on TikTok, where we will help go through your lineup and make some lineup decisions together. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to watch that Studs and Stacks videos for your next chance to win a Millionaire Maker ticket covered by Allaqcess. I appreciate you hanging out. Have a good one.